Forgotten Lore, Episode 4, Excrement by Crad Kilodney. And welcome back to Forgotten Lore. This is the YouTube show where I explore the more obscure nooks and crannies of dark fiction. This week, the book is a very unique one, Excrement by Crad Kilodney. Let me tell you a little bit about Crad Kilodney. He was born in New York and received a bachelor's degree in astronomy from a university in the Midwest. I want to say University of Michigan. He eventually, however, immigrated to Canada due to his distaste at American culture and his distaste, I think Watergate in particular, was the instigating force behind his immigration. So he moved and then eventually began self-publishing his own books and selling them on the streets of Toronto, I believe it was, in the university district of that city. So there's a couple of things unique about him in the history of publishing. He was a self-publisher at a time when that wasn't the trend. And also, he wrote fiction that today we might classify as Bizarro fiction, well before that was even a thing. If you look at some of his fiction titles, this is not a fiction title. This is a nonfiction account of his time selling books on the streets of Toronto. So it's a memoir. I actually prefer this to his fiction. His fiction just doesn't always click on all cylinders for me, but this is a great misanthropic text. I'm going to go ahead and read you a little bit from the first page of Excrement. It says here, if you were to sit down and make a list of the 100 greatest writers, the 100 greatest artists, the 100 greatest philosophers, and the 100 most heroic figures in the history of mankind, and then go out onto the streets and look at the human race, you would see no evidence that any of those great people had ever lived. To me, that's powerful stuff. Very, very caustic and very, very negative, but in an effective way. So this is an account of him selling his books on the streets of Toronto. In places, he gets to sound a little on the edge of derangement, if not going over the edge. And there's some really awful racism and anti-immigrant stuff that comes in to the book in bits and pieces. The way I look at it, though, is that Kilodney was essentially becoming a part of the ugliness of the streets that he despised. So he just, sort of over time became another manifestation of that ugliness in his racism and in his anti-immigrant stuff. So it's interesting to read from that perspective of someone who's decrying the ugliness of the streets and the ugliness of mankind, and at the same time reflecting it and amplifying it even. So I think if you like Henry Miller, you may enjoy this. Matter of fact, I think Kilodney considered himself to be a disciple of Henry Miller. It's a short book. You can still find these around. I bought mine off of Abe Books, and so I got it signed, which is kind of cool. Kilodney died a couple of years ago, so there aren't any more signed books going around. This is a signed, self-published copy, and there you see a cattail making its appearance. This is Jasmine the Jazzy Cat kind of showing up again, unannounced. Good girl. Yeah, that's really fun. Everyone wants to see your cattail. So I'm going to finish this with that there. Anyway, Excrement by Crad Kilodney. Crad Kilodney, as you may imagine, it was a pen name. His actual name was Lou Trifon. I believe that's how it's pronounced. And you can find it at Abe Books. That's all, folks. You want to say goodbye, Jazzy? Goodbye, everybody.